What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we have some official Destiny 2 news coming in the form of This Week at Bungie. We get a look at some of the stuff which is going to be coming on the July 17th update, which of course is happening just next week. We get some more in-depth details about new bounties that are being added to the game, so of course they're finally returning, and we get information about how some of it's going to work. They also have a preview of other changes coming in the update, exotic armor fixes that we'll see, changes to modifiers, there'll also be changes to Eververse's Prismatic matrix. We've got details about Moments of Triumph stuff, and some information about supers, super reworks, and buffs that we'll see in the September update alongside the Forsaken DLC. So plenty of stuff to talk about in this video. As always, if you guys do enjoy this one, a like is super appreciated below. But for now, let's jump straight into it. So they start out by confirming that this is not the last Iron Banner inside of Season 3, there will be another one. But Deej says update 1.2.3 lands on Tuesday. With it, quick play will evolve to become a 6v6 engagement. Rumble is also coming back permanently in the update, but it says we have other news to report for those of you who prefer to focus your fire on the enemies of humanity. So right here they give us some information about new bounties that are coming to Destiny 2. We get an image right here and we can see that there are the Crucible and Vanguard bounties. And we get some details about how some of this is going to work from Senior Design Lead Tyson Green. So he says with the original launch of Destiny, bounties provided a set of daily objectives that players could use to advance faction reputation or earn XP to level up their gear. These were removed to streamline the activity experience in Destiny 2 and reduce the number of chores that players felt compelled to complete every day. But in retrospect, we realized this was an overcorrection, and optional daily objectives to achieve those specific goals are something we want to restore. So he says the bounties returning to Destiny 2 in update 1.2.3 are a return to most of the properties of bounties in the Taken King. They will be obtained from a variety of vendors. They will generally award XP and faction reputation, although some will also offer even better rewards, and they can be redeemed in the field to immediately claim your rewards. In Forsaken, you may also see some bounties drop in the wild. So bounties are actually going to be available for all different types of vendors. They say faction reputation, I'm guessing that is faction tokens, unless that element is actually being removed, and they will directly progress your actual reputation rank. But it says there are two new mechanics. Bounties will expire if left uncompleted, and acquiring them will cost a small amount of glimmer. We wanted to avoid the grab every bounty you see until your inventory is packed and sort them out later experience without constraining players to tiny inventory that they found in the previous iterations of the game. In Forsaken, even more vendors will have bounties on offer, and some will provide legendary or better rewards for completing them. It's fair to observe that we didn't answer every question you might ask about returning bounties. What would be the fun in that? You'll discover exactly how they will work and where you will find them next week and in the weeks that will follow. So pretty interesting. Like I said, the image they provide, I believe, is showing Crucible and then Vanguard right there, or at least that is what it looks like, but it sounds like they're going to be rolling this out to a few other vendors as well, maybe factions, maybe even planetary vendors. We'll have to find out when the update drops. One thing that would have been interesting would be to see, maybe some of the objectives. But of course we had Vanguard ones that might be doing certain things in strikes or making certain kills. The same for the Crucible. Even Iron Banner and Prison of Elders had bounties. So it'd be interesting to see what we get. Hopefully some of those reward systems will be pretty rigid as well. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. But Bungie do reiterate that Game Informer have been covering a bunch of information about Forsaken, and I've covered a lot of that stuff here on the channel as well. We had new details about Lost Sectors, how those are changing, all of the new supers and subclass trees in the expansion, as well as a good look at the Tangled Shore. But as far as the update dropping on Tuesday, July 17th, Bungie say there will be more information concerning deployment times and download sizes available, but some of the miscellaneous quality of life changes include PC clan chat, where they add a new in-game text chat channel that allows online Destiny 2 clan members to communicate. Once all of the Mercury Forge weapons have been obtained, they will become available for direct purchase from Brother Vance in the Lighthouse, and these will actually be shown in the second vendor page, so you will have to scroll along to see them. They removed momentum from Heroic Strikes. Pursuit's inventory bucket has been moved up to the top of the inventory categories. That's pretty interesting. I guess bounties are probably going to be housed there as well. And then commas have been added to large numbers as separators, and this is basically post-game or in-game credits. There are also some minor changes to exotic armor. So they fixed an issue that was causing targets marked by the Sanguine Alchemy to produce orbs when defeated, an issue which caused the Starfire Protocol not to work with the Dawnblade's attunement of Sky ability path, and a problem that prevented Warlock melee attack damage when using the Ophidian Aspect exotic and the High 5 swords or orb carry objects. Then we have information about heroic strike modifiers, some of which have been given slight adjustments in response to feedback. So Blackout, we wanted to ensure that enemy melees are threatening, but this shouldn't dismiss a player's power progression or the stats that they choose to invest on their armor. As such, this modifier is changing somewhat. It still increases enemy melee damage significantly, but it's now no longer a guarantee of players being defeated by a single melee from many enemies. Be careful though, if you're not at the recommended power for heroic strikes, then your enemies will be more powerful and pack a harder punch. So I think that definitely sounds like a positive change, but then we have Grounded, and they say there are many times where players can be considered airborne when they're not actually jumping. To account for that, we're reducing the damage threshold so that players aren't punished for things outside of their control. Additionally, we're looking to prevent players from falling to their demise from a height of 2 meters, just as they happen to land on a rock or some other small object. So I think that's also a positive change. Grounded is a funny one because of course Destiny is a mobility shooter. You've got a lot of vertical action going on, so it's kind of bizarre to punish that. So I'm glad to see at least some reductions right there. But then we have Glass. This modifier reduces a Guardian's shields and health while increasing recovery. We slightly reduce the impact of this modifier to better enable players to see the effects of their overall power progression over time. So some positive changes, definitely positive that Blackout change as well. They do say stay tuned to Bungie.net for the full patch notes next week, expected to become available at 9 AM PDT on Tuesday, July 17th. So of course that is the reset time. Next though, they speak about the Prismatic Matrix in the Eververse store. They say this week the user interface calls specific attention to the limited time of this feature. The original intent of Prismatic Matrix was for it to be a special event, something to help players round out their collections, as the odds of earning the items that were eluding them improved as they continued to earn bright engrams. We had a limited number of weeks scheduled, designed to keep repetition to a minimum. That schedule of curated offerings is coming to an end, so the feature will be going on temporary hiatus starting next week. They do say that they will continue to support this feature in Forsaken, so it will be coming back, and they'll talk about it more before it launches in September. So that's actually going to vanish next week. We're curious to hear what you guys think about that. They give a couple of warnings about moments of triumph. So of course various triumphs are now being tracked before the Solstice of Heroes event goes live. They do say progress towards triumphs and event rewards may be lost if players delete any characters on their account. For the best experience, it's recommended that players do not delete any characters until the desired rewards have been redeemed, and Solstice of Heroes concludes on August 28th. So definitely worth bearing in mind right there. Players will also not be able to redeem collected triumphs for points or rewards until Solstice of Heroes goes live in Destiny 2 on July 31st. So as far as in-game tracking for this, none of that is going to be present until the live event actually begins. They do reiterate the starting times for the new Prestige raid layers next week. So Prestige Eater of Worlds will launch at 11 AM PDT on July 17th, and Leviathan Spire of Stars will launch at 10 AM PDT on July 18th. So Spire of Stars will be on the reset time, but the day before Eater of Worlds will be happening 1 hour after reset to allow players to get the downloads and everything like that. Bungie do reiterate that there will be the Gambit Exhibition Tournament happening on July 13th. So that is Friday, tomorrow potentially, or today, depending on when you watch this. And that'll be happening on the GuardianCon stream at 6 PM EDT. Of course, there'll be a bunch of commentary about what's going on, and a bunch of content creators will be featured there as well. On the subject of new supers, somebody said, what's to stop the new Stormcaller from using the super this way? A quick burst for close quarter kills, only using minimum super energy and getting super back very quickly, and doing that over and over again. And Claude Jerome from Bungie said, thanks dude, for Chaos Reach, there is an additional cost to deactivating your super early. For instance, if you used up 30% of the super for a quick burst and then deactivated it, you'd have less than 70% left over. The numbers aren't final yet, so I can't say exactly how much, but does that make sense? So essentially there is still a penalty there if you actually do cancel the super, because you can cancel this super and then keep hold of some of the super energy from it, which is pretty interesting. They are assuring folks that they do have systems to try and stop that being abused in any way. On the subject of current subclasses though, Bungie devs had previously confirmed that they will be doing a design pass, so basically a sandbox update that affects all of the supers in the game, not just the new stuff coming with Forsaken. And Shake from Destiny Fumbly said, but how about my Ward of Dawn though? And Claude did say it's buffed, details later. So the current Sentinel Ward of Dawn Titan is getting some kind of a buff, that's definitely positive. But there we go guys, let me know your thoughts down below. I'd be curious to hear what you think about the new bounties. Of course, we're pretty light on details, we'll have to jump in and see what they're actually like, see what the rewards are like, and of course those objectives as well. I also spoke earlier today about new wanted bounties that will be coming in the DLC. These are like high value targets that you'll hunt in the Tangled Shore and in various different locations. And that stuff's sounding pretty cool, so if you want to check that video out, I will link it down below and at the end of this video. If you have enjoyed this video, guys, a like is very much appreciated below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. That way you'll never miss out on a video. For now, I appreciate you watching as always, and I will catch you very soon.